This is a mini lesson analysis on Marth versus Puff. Don't want to down tilt for no reason against Puff, by the way. Especially when she's in the air. So generally speaking, usually you're supposed to move. Like, I notice you're trying to like outzone Puff, but that is quite difficult to do. At least it's difficult to zone out Puff straight up. Especially if you don't have frame advantage and you don't have like some kind of positional advantage. Usually, if you don't have either of those conditions, then you need to move. You need to dash stance in some way. It's much easier to uh, you know reposition yourself in a way where your zoning can succeed rather than just only zone. You know, like you're trying to chase down, especially after you whiff multiple times, and that's how you get pounded like that. You know, that's how you just get again, you're getting pounded like this because you're kind of just zoning whenever you want. With Marth, the reason why zoning indefinitely can't really work is because, uh, you know, your hitbox has to disappear at some point, and if you're doing it with, lack of frame advantage and you're doing it with lack of frame advantage, lack of positional advantage, you're just gonna get whiff punished like you're seeing here. And that's why you need movement. You need movement to position yourself for like a good zoning opportunity or to whiff punish. Um, you know, I didn't make the rules. That's just how the game works. Where that's why you just can't zone indefinitely. So that's kind of how you get. You're kind of just like zoning in place, hoping that they'll run into you. And it's difficult to actually straight up punish a mark like a fair in place. It's just that it becomes a lot easier to punish a marked zoning pattern when when you go in as the attacker when marked is at some kind of disadvantage. So that's one thing to note, is that zoning becomes a lot weaker when you do it at a disadvantage, like a frame disadvantage of some sort, and you're kind of locked into like some kind of overall pattern. So yeah, also not really a fan of these rising fares that you're doing that are like not guaranteed. You also like, again, when it's not like the best idea to zone, you want to CC, you want to move like that falling up air that happened here, which by the way, this VOD is moving slower. I think you're not recording this with like, it feels like maybe you're not recording this in the best PC state, but whatever. But that's like an example of like CC. You got to CC there, or else could have gotten rested there. And also you want to be faster about forward throwing. You every time you're grabbing them, you're like confirming that you grabbed them, but that little bit of weight gives them time to DI down and away. There you didn't dash further enough. That they didn't DI down and away in time. That time you threw a lot faster. It's just that yeah, there you missed your pivot, so obviously you gotta practice your pivots as well. And there, I do get that it's juicy to go for grabs, but this is like, Puff has like a lot of manipulation going for this fair. And sometimes you could go for that dash grab read of how they land here, but it's a guess. And you're also at the percent where you could get killed for, a forward smash or rest. I think it's just overall a better play to just accept passive. You have two ways of going about this. You could either play this passive of like landing fares, or you could make it look like you're about to go for a grab and then, outplay from there. I think either is fine, but you shouldn't always expect this as a guaranteed dash grab as you treated it here. That's why you got end up getting owned there. Missed a grab opportunity there, but there you finally get it. That's good. Okay, don't mess up your movement. And then, you're at a frame disadvantage, you gotta crouch cancel. Now's not the time to zone. And there, when you don't get a tipper aerial like this, see how you didn't get a tipper aerial, tipper fair down tilt? you gotta get out of the way, or else you're gonna get clipped like you did. Like you're taking so much damage because like you're so insistent on zoning. And also, you should not side B there. That puff could have just hit you. It is really weird watching slow mo melee. So just in the future, please, please, try to upload regular speed melee. But yeah, calling out those nairs with just like raw dash dance grab without like any kind of manipulation or feints, it's really difficult. But that's like actually one example where it's like, this puff is going for a dash attack after, you're not taking the bait. You could always like shield here to call out dash attack. And that's a much more reliable way of getting a grab is shield grabbing dash attack in particular. Pay attention to your own percents, That's like the famous Zane rule of like, oh, look at your percent. So like, when puff dash attacks, when puff pounds, bear is that, from like miss your pivot again. That's definitely like a big improvement point to make. But yeah, the general rule is that like from like, 0 to 40 ish, well, more like 0 to 20, 30 maybe, is that puff is going to pound, and then 40% puff plus puff dash attacks. No, puff bears, sorry. From 0 to past 40% puff bears, and then past like 70% puff starts a dash attack. Also, why is it going real speed now? That's odd. But uh getting off of ledge a little slowly, but that's fine. Yeah, see your percent where like puff just dash attacked. If you just shielded there rather than like being insistent on zoning, better things may have happened. And also don't let puff just grab the ledge for free. Like could have just done like a run up side B up tilt here. It's a shame that up tilt didn't kill. But that one should. Puff was a little greedy there, but it's a shame that you took percent for it. Again, gotta CC grab those. Can't be zoning whenever you want. I think that's like probably the biggest thing. Oh, you could have nared out shield that. Never dash attack puff like that. There's literally no reason to ever do that. Yeah, the Zane percent rule is really showing itself. Like this puff is literally only from 0 to 40. They're pounding you. After that, they're like pairing and naring you, and then 70 is probably gonna dash attack you. So always keep that in mind that, depending on your percent, the puff is very likely to go for certain aerials and attacks. See how they like try to forward smash you once you're probably past like 70. Dash attack. Dash attack again. You could be much more reactive. Like once you forward throw, you could be reactive to DI, and depending on how they DI, you can control precisely how long your dash needs to be, depending on the DI they do, which is all reactable. Yeah, I like that. This is good. Ideally, it should take you less than like 10 tries, but it's a work in progress for sure. And same thing for jugglers too. Like you don't always want to like zone them out for juggling too. Oh, they should have just rested you straight up. But yeah, you don't want to just like be stubborn about zoning all the time. The funny thing is that this suddenly became really close. Yeah, they meant to dash attack there. So, if you hit all your pivots, you probably would have won this game, funny enough. Yeah, but you kind of gave them a little bit too many opportunities, especially with like how you were, the cons of just zoning, over zoning. Like you gotta know the correct conditions of when to zone, when to dash dance, and of course, uh, improving your pivots and like also percents. Like I think that's like the two biggest things. Like learn like the percents rules of like what puff is very likely to do, and knowing the pros and cons of zoning.